Hello, and welcome back to Election Time News, your one-stop for political summations, palm reviews, nonpartisan predictions, and reviews and compilations on other political forecasters. Today is Thursday, October 3rd, 2024, and today I will be updating the Senate map based on the most recent polls in every single state. Now, I will also be showing the Polymarket odds for these states, but I will not be changing the map based on them at all. It's just as a comparison to the polls, and just so you can generally get a sense of how Polymarket thinks things will go. Now, sadly, as things have gotten more partisan, almost every single state is deep blue or deep red, and so if there are any polls that haven't come, that there's any state that a poll hasn't come out in from September 1st, that is the furthest back we're going, September 1st, then I will just put in what it's rated as on Polymarket, but I doubt that will happen, as basically in the past month, every single state has been polled by this point. So, starting out now with the most recent poll being one done 400 likely voters by ActiVote on September 30th. Cruz versus Allred. Now, this is actually a much closer race poll-wise than most places than it was originally thought to be. However, Polymarket does still have an 82-18. I think that is actually a relatively quick spike up from the more recent odds, but still looking back here, that is still a +5. Now, if we look back at the more recent one, Cruz +1 and then Cruz +2, this is a blue, this is a Democratic sponsored pack, but it is still a pretty good. This is an interesting poll. It's done by Christensen, so it's probably going to be very, very skewed, but it's only up by 9 points in North Dakota. So this might actually come within about 15 points. But looking back down, going to find the next most recent. Here's one more that I'd expect. Kramer +29. This is done by Kramer. So between the two, +29 down there, and then up here, +9. That's +19. So maybe it's not going to be all that close. Here, Cruz up by 4. Done by Emerson College. All of those in around the past week. So Cruz has taken back the victory, but there were some polls in which there actually was a victory so far for Allred. Allred was up by a point in one poll, and there was a tie in another one. I'm not sure how far back those are, though, at this point. But anyway, again, this one +5, our margins are going to be 1 and 2 points, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 or above is safe. So this one is going to be 5 points, so that's going to be a lean margin. Now, going into Pennsylvania, we have 1,090 likely voters, 816 registered voters. This one is more likely to be a bit stronger, even though it's almost half as much, because Trafalgar Group's a pollster for the Republican Party. We have Casey up by 3. That is going to be a lean margin in the keystone state of Pennsylvania. But also, for both parties, absolutely a keystone race here for the presidential election, which I will be, of course, getting another video to next Tuesday. And, of course, the one yesterday for the update for how I think things would go after the debate. We'll have to see in the future, and I will be giving that update most likely next Tuesday. I might do something sooner. Now, of course, next is going to be Wisconsin, where Tammy Baldwin is leading by 8. That is a likely margin. That's a strong lead for the current incumbent senator of Wisconsin. Now let's run on to Arizona. Gallego +11. That is a safe margin in Arizona. That is a very good sign for Gallego campaign, and is absolutely a seat the Democrats will need to hold on to. Now, Michigan, Slotkin +6. This is a bit less than some of the other polls that were seen, but +5, +4. So actually it's a bit higher. Consistently polling about 6 or so, but still a seat that they need nonetheless. Now, before we continue, if you like content like this, make sure to subscribe. I'll be giving weekly updates on the presidential election predictions, and every single Tuesday, leading up to a video with my final prediction the morning of Election Day. as well as periodic updates on Senate races, such as this one. And I have a goal of 250 subscribers by Election Day. I recently hit 100. Thank you all so much for the support. We are 2/5 there. So help me continue that journey to 250 by my live stream of election night, which I will start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will be streaming until at least 1:30 a.m. the following day. So I have tons of things set up. It's going to be a great night. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. Do me a favor and click that bright red button. Now, moving on, the next poll is in Texas. We already have Texas down, but this is Cruz +1 and +2. It's a sponsor, so shift it by probably about 2 points or so. It's going to be right around 3 and 4, so that's not that unexpected of a result. Now, looking in Florida, we have Scott +3, so this is a partisan poll, so we're going to shift it by 1 point in the benefit of the other party. That's what I'm going to be doing for all of these partisan polls. We haven't had one that we've used so far yet, but and when I have a chance to, either way, this would be KC +3. So I will be using the larger of two if I have the option, if they come out on the same day, or the longest. So first off, okay. Anyway, moving on. I'm not going to completely elaborate. I'll get to it when I need to. But looking here, Scott +3. This one is they're both the same length, and they're both by the same. But here we have Scott +3. It does not have the third party. So due to it not having the third party, I will be using this one because this is a full scope. And so then I will move it 1 point to the right, which means Scott +2, which is just barely a tilt margin in Florida. Now, of course, this one is Scott +3. It's probably going to be closer to about 2.5 points, but just based on that. Now, this one, of course, we have +9. This is North Dakota. I'm not necessarily... Now, just based on the most recent polls, we're going to shift it +1, so it's going to be +10. It's still going to be safe. But again, let me go back down here to the one sponsored by Kramer. We have 29. Get the average of that, that's +19, and that's a relatively logical margin to be seeing. Now, already done Wisconsin. Ohio, here we have Brown +4. They are the same amount of people. This one is registered voters, though, so I will be using this one. They are the same length, same amount of people. This one is registered voters, so I'll be using this one. Now, we have Brown up by 5, so that is going to be a lean margin. Now, of course, Ohio is the closest state right now. It is 51-49 share Brown on Polymarket. Very, very tight. It was much further ahead for Brown a little while ago, but it has definitely tightened. Brown has not lost the lead to Marino at any point, but this is basically the closest it has gotten. Montana has gone way for Tim Sheehy. Originally, John Tester was in the lead in about August, but that has quickly changed. Next up, moving down, we already have Michigan. In New York, we have 1,000 likely voters. However, this one is done over a much longer period, but this one has more voters. So this one is going to take precedence, and this one's Emerson College in the Hill, and it has Gillibrand up by 17. That is a easily safe margin. Now, next up is Indiana. Banks +14, easily a safe margin as well. Already done. Now this one only up by 1. That's another sign that this one actually is somewhat within reach for the Democrats, depending on how things go. Already done Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. Okay, Nevada is next. Rosen is up by 2. This is a tilt margin. Now, Polymarket has Rosen taking it 87-13, so there's no concern as far as the overall odds go, but this poll only has her up by 2, so I'll be putting it down as only up by 2. However, Rosen does still take the victory, so that is still another Senate seat that Democrats absolutely need. Michigan, this one's interesting. This one actually has Rogers up by 6. However, there's been some confusion about the Atlas Intel polls, especially on the presidential level. So we're going to keep on going, and Now we have University of Southern California, 1685 likely voters, Schiff up by 20 points. That is easily a safe race for Adam Schiff. Now, next up, of course, here's the Kramer one. Virginia, here we have Kaine up by 10. So that is a safe margin for Tim Kaine. Texas, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Florida. Here we have Nebraska. Ricketts up by 18 against Love in the special election. However, in the general election, Dan Osborne is up by 1. Now, because this is a sponsored poll, we're going to shift it to the right by 1. So that means that it is actually just a pure toss-up race. So we're going to leave it in toss-up. Now, technically, that counts as a Democratic seat because Osborne caucuses with Democrats. But this is actually a pure toss-up seat. Maryland has also Brooks up only by 9, and this one only by 11. But up by 9, that is only a likely race. Pennsylvania, Florida, Ohio, Arizona, California again, Ohio, Montana. Here we go. Partisan. This one is partisan, so we are going to shift it to the left by a point, but it still has Sheehy up by 7, so it's going to be wrong color, likely red. And then down here, Rhode Island has White House up by 16 points, easily a safe margin. Pennsylvania, Nevada, Minnesota has Klobuchar up by 8 points. That is another likely margin here. Delaware, Blunt Rochester up by a whopping 21 percentage points. Easily safe. Utah, Curtis up by 19 points. Most of these have absolutely no real contest going on. Now, Michigan done with Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, Texas. New Mexico, here we have Heinrich up by 13. That is easily a safe margin. Connecticut, Murphy up by 16. Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren up by 11. Next up, we have quite a few more repeats. Maine has King up by a 30. Now, he does caucus with Democrats, so we're going to put that down as blue. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Indiana has Banks up by 13. Already have that one. Missouri has Hawley up by 12. Nevada, one done by Trafalgar Group, right-leaning, has Rosen up by 8, so that would be 7, so that's probably why on Polymarket it is so blue. Now, New Mexico has Heinrich up by 12. Looks like we're starting to come to the end of being able to find any more states here. We're already back to September 8th, but again, we have Allsbrooks by 6. Now, here was a bit further off. Scott up by 5. And actually, they were doing the Democratic incumbents in the Rust Belt were actually doing better. Casey by 9 and 7, Baldwin by 6 and 8. Washington, Cantwell by 22. So there's another seat for the Democrats that is almost a completely expected hold. Second, Tennessee, Blackburn plus 20. And then on the first, we have Ohio, Brown plus 5 with fellow predictors Red Eagle Politics and On Point Politics, both of which are right-leaning channels. With Brown plus 5, which is where he was originally coming from, as far as that went. Then we have Slotkin plus 1 and Kane plus 11. Now we have a few states left. We're going to search for some polls for them. Now Wyoming is not even close. I'm not even sure if there's actually even anyone running for the Democratic side. There is, apparently. October 8th. Oh, this is for 2020. They don't have any polls out of Wyoming, but it is absolutely a safe red state. I'm not sure if there's even anyone running. Scott Morrow. All right, yeah, 99%. That is just guaranteed as far as that goes. Interestingly, Nebraska, Dan Osborne has a 19% chance. I think he actually does have a bit more of a chance than that. And now going down to Mississippi, 98-2. That is essentially a 100% chance. West Virginia, Jim Justice is going to win. He is a relatively popular governor there. He is going to take that. And now the Republicans have 50 seats, which means that the Democrats need to win this toss-up, as well as all of these other states. Hawaii is safe blue. Absolutely safe blue, that is 99. That's basically 100% chance. Now looking up here, Vermont, Bernie Sanders is going to win. He's a very popular senator from Vermont. And lastly, we have the state of New Jersey. Andy Kim actually is only leading 94-6. They're saying that Bashaw has the slimmest of chances to win, but that is still absolutely going to be a safe margin, meaning that it all comes down now to the Nebraska special election if these most recent polls are true, which would mean that if the election was held today, right now, based on those polls, which saying today is a bit misleading, as, of course, we got some of them from over a month ago. But it is 50 Republicans, 49 Democrats. Very, very tense. There's a Nebraska special election has a chance of going towards the Democrats. Cruz, I think, has a chance that he might lose by a very small amount, only 1 to 2 points if he's going to lose to Allred. There's a chance that Scott might lose. It depends on how turnout goes and how they can hold, how the urban cores end up standing. But as of right now, I do see it being a bit more along these sort of lines. It's going to be very close in Ohio, but I think Brown will hold on. And she isn't going to win by quite that much, but I think he is going to hold on to the seat. And I'm not sure actually about Dan Osborne, but there actually is a chance that he will win, but as of right now, I do still have it lean Republican. So this is actually a downgrade from likely Republican from my last Senate video. But again, looking back at the polls, we had... Oh, I was clicking the wrong way. All of these here, he was winning by quite a bit. That was slim, and we have that right there, and then this was a pure toss-up. So here is the state of the race according to the most recent polls. Thank you all very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future content, and have an amazing rest of your day.